From the moment the ship drops anchor or ties up in a foreign port, Chapman College usually becomes the biggest news event in town, and often throughout the country. People seem to be pleased that the college has chosen their country's culture as part of its program of study, and thus Chapman deans and student leaders often are called upon to honor national shrines and heroes. Being a part of World Campus Afloat often affords privileges and entrees usually reserved for ambassadors. The Prime Minister of Malaysia regularly hosts a reception and dinner dance. And on each visit to Rome, the Pope has held private audiences with the students and has commended the program for its role in promoting world peace. In Taiwan, Madame Chiang Kai-shek personally relayed the respects of the Generalissimo and later met informally with the students. Television stations in some ports request talented groups or solo vocalists to perform on their nationally syndicated variety shows. But often the simple pleasures are the most gratifying, like the casual garden party sponsored by U.S. Ambassador Burgess in Buenos Aires. After 3 months in unfamiliar cultures, it can be strangely relaxing to stand on a tiny island of American soil, munch pretzels, and listen to Dixieland.
I think more than anything else I got from my semester on WCA was a real feeling or insight into the conflicts and the tensions that I used to read and hear about in the news every day. Current events take on a new meaning when you visit monuments and landmarks that you've heard about all your life, like here in Israel. Bethlehem, the Dead Sea, Jerusalem, the Wailing Wall. Everywhere you see soldiers. And it hits you that these relics from the past provide the setting and the backdrop for one of the most serious conflicts in the world today. No matter how many books or newspapers you read, no matter how many movies or TV news documentaries you see, you can never get a clear understanding of what's going on in the world unless you witness them yourself. In Greece, my political science class was invited to participate in a symposium with cabinet ministers of the new military regime. This was the feature item on the televised news program in Athens. On the bus, I had a chance to talk privately with a few Greek students who clued me in on the changes that have taken place under the new government. They wanted a few of us to ask some direct questions about basic freedoms of speech and press and to question the validity of the last plebiscite. As it turned out, they didn't have enough room for the thousands of Greek students who showed up, so most of them lined the road and cheered as we entered. Those who were admitted sat silently. We could feel them kind of telepathically cheering us on to ask the questions they wanted answered. We later found out that none of the Greek students' reactions or any of our probing questions were mentioned in the newspapers or the telecasts. In Portugal, our contact with the local students was very highly restricted. But in Lisbon, a few of us managed to meet some students who described their struggles against the authoritarian government policies. It's funny, but now we find ourselves following international events a little more closely. It's really amazing that all the basic rights we take for granted at home, for much of the world, are at best far distant dreams. No matter what anyone thought about the country before leaving, I think everybody returned with a healthier respect for the United States.
In keeping with ancient maritime tradition, as the ship crosses the equator, King Neptune and his court come aboard to welcome the newcomers to his realm.
Welcome on board, Your Majesty, King of the oceans and seas, ruler of the deep.
My dear Captain, it's a great pleasure to get back on board the SS Rheindamm. Now, darling, please, you slimy, earthly worms, sons and daughters of the most obscure corners of America, Europe, and Asia, Bow down and press your noses hard against the deck of this proud ship, and that's an order. The ruler of all the oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, brooks, and marshes, of all baths, wash basins, bathtubs, and even glasses containing water, and obstructed water pipes that you find so many on this ship. The Supreme Neptune, in his boundless benevolence and mercy, has thought fit to accept you into his retinue and among his watery fellows. Now I want you to rise and return to your student union and prepare yourself for purification.
This is one college campus where it would be impossible to find someone with nothing to do in his spare time. There's always sightseeing to catch up on, as here at the Taj Mahal, or on Corcovado, overlooking Sugarloaf in Rio. Those interested in music and theater can attend unique performances around the world, as this Chinese opera in Taipei. Or they may prefer to shoot the rapids at Laguna in the Philippines. Or ride horseback on an estancia in the Argentine. As the voyage nears an end, everyone reviews the semester's reading and pores over notes in preparation for finals. Term papers are typed and submitted. Then they turn to last-minute packing and gift wrapping and anxiously await their grades as the ship steams on toward home.